Okay, welcome back. It's time to do the final design with materials. We're going to do the foam buildup on the armature, and I'm going to use vellum. So I think everyone got a piece of the nice vellum to do final designs on. And if you already used yours up, you can always go grab some more. It's great to work with. We also had a generous donation in the class, so we'll have dragon eyes to choose from. These are pretty awesome, and I have my reference board up showing the feathers and leather and all the other materials that I plan to use to make this character. I have an extra sheet to the side if needed to do the hand. There's also, I was going to do like a little wild boy type character. I still got the little wild foot. The original foot I had was the bottom, and we still have the original drawings here. So there's kind of the default kind of blah. They call him blah guy, blah, with the super bow-legged. I really hate this drawing, but it's all good. And his overlay for clothing. And excuse my reach. There we go. And we still have the side view of the character for Mr. Blah, Mr. Baldy Blah, right here. So I have these kind of to the side with the registration marks. But all that aside, we're assuming that you've worked out all those drawings, and so I have the armature here. It still matches really nicely. And what I've opted to do, I'm going to bend this into position a bit, is I'm going to not do the super bow-legged thing, so I'll make his feet a little more normal. He does have the big toes, which was really fun to do, so we're going to still keep the clawed foot idea. See right there. And I'm also going to make his hands clawed. So I'm going to redraw the hand, and usually you could do the front or back, whichever one, and then just flip it over with some tracing paper, do the other side so you don't have to redraw too much. And then I like the little head that I drew for the, he's almost looking like a little werewolf boy. But we're also going to introduce friendly plastic into the equation. So friendly plastic for teeth and claws and things like that, and choose a glass eye, dragon eye for what fits best in the eye socket. So for this size, I thought this would be pretty good size. You see the little blue there. And I had these bigger ones here, and they're not very round, so they're kind of flat for my taste. I do have some other clear eyes, but you get a big pack of these dragon eyes for I think $10 or $15 on Amazon. So and if you don't want to use glass eyes, you can use almost any material for eyeballs, or maybe your character doesn't even have eyeballs. It's really depends on what you want to make. So for this character, I think I'm going to go with these blue ones here, and they're rather big. So if I can find, I think this size will work better. So I'm going to get these little blue-green cat's eyes out. Very Wild Boy-ish, and you can see I had it on the paper and this little backing to the glass eyes. I had on this paper to help organize them, but it actually peels some of the protective coating off for some of them, so just kind of be aware. So I like that a lot. So there we go. We got some little eyeballs to put in there. Pretty cool. Very happy with that. We have the armature. Everyone's got their armature built, or just about everybody, with the torso locked in. Remember the freedom for the shoulders there. Hands forward, hands back. If I want to, I could twist the whole thing to whichever. Make sure I hold this in place here. I think design-wise for me, it's easier to complete this character with the palms forward. And I'll explain why a little bit later, but see how easy that was to bend? The armature wire is awesome. So I'm just going to realign my armature here, make sure that everything's still fitting nicely, and make sure I know where my elbow is on this drawing. There we go. So there, and I want to be pretty precise still during this process. So let me bend everything in place. And any rounded handle tool would do, but I'm going to use this tool here And I'm going to kind of get that shoulder bend a little bit more where I want it to go. Use this one. The handle for a paintbrush or whatever you're using should be fine. There we go. Just make sure that bend is going right. And then I want to kind of flatten everything out nice and flat. Hopefully everyone got their shoulders behind the torso. I think everyone did pretty good, or you just locked it in straight, but you really want the shoulders to go kind of back behind. This is it, right? This is the grand finale. So, and then the thumb should be hanging down a little bit. There we go. And the legs, like I said, the other ones are a little bow-legged. Should be all right. Okay, armature's a little closer to the top than maybe I would have liked, so just get some of my pencil marks out here. I'm still opting to use my colored pencils, although I may go away from them and start doing like almost like a final ink pencil. Yeah, see, it's a little high where I get the feet there. Now, I don't need to be super precise um, in terms of, now the puppet's gonna take on a life of its own. It's gonna become whatever it's gonna become, and you got to kind of be zen with that. Like the precision that this follows the drawing, it doesn't mean anything really. It's like don't be too locked in the puppet looking exactly like you drew it. Like the puppet is the puppet. Like it is its own little thing. And there's kind of Guillermo del Toro and Phil Tippett on their commentary for Mad God. They talked about it, kind of the sacred bond between the puppet maker and the puppet. So if I have it up all the way, see it's a little high. My feet were on the ground, so I'm just going to bring it down to the final design. And maybe if I bent the knees a little, that wouldn't quite be like that, but that's okay. I'm just going to kind of put that bottom line here across the bottom. And my knees are still going to be here and here. You see this leg's bent out a little more like that. And there we go. I think that is part of it. And the way the arms are out. There we go. And you want to like counter bend, like bend back a little bit. So this is really um, the final pose before, because we're going to start putting the foam on it. We're going to like start binding it up. So we're going to use the foam. We're going to use the whatever spray adhesive is that you have handy. You can do the lashing. You can spin around, twist around the form with any thread that you have handy. And we're going to use the athletic foam to wrap tight around this foam and around the little fingers and toes. And all of that is going to be bound together using the liquid latex. And for the liquid latex, I have this mask making slush casting from Environ Molds, and maybe we have some other variety in class. And you can also use cotton, tear the little cotton pieces off and wrap it around the body. So let's make the final design here and let's get the foam on there and start building the actual puppet. Because I mean, getting in there and sculpting the face, I mean, is going to be so fun. That's the big payoff. So I think we're good with everything there. I just elongated or mashed up the floor. See, he stands really nice too already without any bolts at all. Those toes really help balance everything out. So I will come across the bottom of the drawing here with my ruler. And let's make sure that the floor and everything is lined up. So my paper is indeed taped down. That's good. And maybe just, whoa, what was that? A piece of something. Okay. It doesn't want to leave. It likes me. So right here, I'm just going to draw my new ground line. So, it's little adjustments like this get made in the final stages of this design. And go up here. Make sure I got my vertical key line where I want it. That looks good. And my ink pen of choice, which these days seems to be these contractor Milwaukee pens that actually are meant to be used in construction, and they like draw through grime and grit, and they cling to the surface really nicely. So I tend to really like these pens better even than some of the more artistic ones, maybe than the Copic or the Microns. Make sure I'm on camera there. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there is our new floor for our final design. And I will go in here and do a bit more digitally as well. Looks like I've off the line just a little tiny bit. Let's make sure this is straight. It's all straight. That's straight. Okay, so yeah, my floor line I drew looks like the went a little fast. So make sure that is accurate and straight as we can get it. All right, cool. And then same thing with the registration marks. It's just take the time, do them up front. Now, of course, digitals goes a little faster, but not as much faster. It really only takes a few minutes to do this. Go. And so in case I need to restack or double check anything, everything's going to line up nicely. There we go. All right, cool. So I'll probably just use that head, that face that I think turned out all right, especially for a little demo to making up on the fly. It's hard to get something you like sometimes. And get some graphite going and just kind of redefining, making sure the head's going to go, because I put a bunch of fur on them, which I'm actually going to change. So I want to make sure I know where that skull is again, because the skull got buried by all the fur and tufts that I threw on there. Ah, my hand's really shaky this morning. Too much caffeine. Let's see. Let's get something a little friendlier for the process. Which one is this one? And if I need the light table to see my thicknesses, but that's all right. So I'll just do a black wax colored pencil for the skull, making sure, and maybe bring his jaw out a little bit more, a little chiseled. Make him like a little wiry, almost like Peter Pan, Gremlin type of characters. I think what I was kicking around in my head. And yeah, those are not even. Make sure they're even. Um, I'm opting to make him a little thicker just to make life easier for me. And again, the clavicle region, it's pretty straight across, right? When the arms are down, that's what we're looking for. You could do little bumps. And the trapezius goes behind the sternocleidomastoids, a little V shape right there. And can't help myself but to call out the anatomy while we're working together on this. All right, so I went ahead and grabbed the light table so I could see. It might be a little harder for you guys to see, but I could see much better now where the skull is at. And there's this hairline coming around. Just kind of tracing over a little bit. I want to know where the ears are going to be for sure. Uh, Probably going to um, do something fun with the ears. Make sure that they're animatable. Make sure they can move. That'd be really fun. I'll probably use a different type of cost clay, so you can kind of see the lines coming up a bit more in there. There we go. And Continue down here rather rapidly, so maybe bulk his shoulders out a little bit more. And there's kind of a bow going on in there earlier that was kind of throwing off the armature bend, so maybe bring those biceps in. Make sure I'm still measuring from the grid. Looks like it's a lot farther in over here. 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh, way over here. Okay, yeah. Things got off quite a bit. And lucky for us, we're still using pencil, so very easy to go in here. Especially at the vellum. Now, if you're using the vellum, you'll see like it's super strong, and so you can make a lot of changes. And right here, the elbow bend, right there. It comes out a bit more. There we go. And then I'll maybe bring his thumb out and give him little claws at the end of his fingertips. Little pat on his hand. And, duplicate that over the other side, no problem. Use the other thumb. I'm trying to like accentuate any of the bony protrusions a little bit, like the knuckles, some of the knuckling that's happening, and some kind of like feral wildling-esque humanoid thing. So I don't have a backstory written for this guy, but oh, he's giving off some heat. Interesting. Okay, there we go. So yeah, keep the shoulders, maybe bulk the shoulders up just a little bit, maybe keep them wiry on the sides. And that's going to come down here for the rib cage and give them the pectoral also here. And we're still going to put the costume on there. Well, I really had the arm drawer. I think they might have shifted on me. That's what happened. Yeah, so you'll have a lot of shifts that you'll discover through this process, right? And that's just kind of nature of the beast. Take those drawings out of there as soon as I'm get this blocked in and just use the graph paper behind it. So there's my hip bone. We definitely want to accentuate where the hip pelvic girdle is going to be right here, and then think to the front, and where we want that to be is the inside of the thigh is going to come out right there. There we go. And then a little lower on the inside of the leg, right? Down here, and higher up on the outside of the leg, so we can kind of curve that outward as well. And then add the inside of the calf. And draw a little circle for the kneecap, maybe. Here we go. Maybe I'll have his calves up even higher, give him like the sprinter calf. And then forward, we talked about the front view 2 times. Should be okay. All right, let's go ahead and take this apart and see what it's looking like. Okay, voila, there's our little beast boy character. Get these off. Everything should be pretty close proportionately speaking. So I'm just going to kind of get the two sides married up a bit better. Take care of any glaring mismeasurements. Yeah, too bad I didn't finish the fingers there, but I think we'll be okay. There it goes. So yeah, pretty much freed up now to design because this is going to match up perfectly with the armature. That's what's most important is the final on there. I can see where all the fingers are. Yeah, very nice. The ankles are good. We're good. Yeah, yeah. Um, so we want to have the head. Now I already cut some of the foam for the head, so you can cut foam, and I'm just using the carpenter's knife blade to cut that. We can also grab some aluminum foil pieces. So you grab some sheets of aluminum foil, and we can kind of bunch that up around the open light bulb shape of the skull there. And I'm going to show you both methods. Either, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. You just kind of want to get it through here nice and strong and kind of crunch it on there real tight and pack it to where you have enough space around the skull to add the clay. We can use the epoxy resin for that. Um, Down here at the torso, we're going to add the rib cage in. And then down here at the pelvis, we're going to add the wings of the pelvic bone in there. So let's turn that off for a minute so you can see a little bit better. There he is. Yay, Beast Boy. And let's go ahead and do it. Okay, it's just getting a little messy in here, so I could clean this up a bit. So remember, the rib cage will come in front. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna make sure this pencil's actually drawing on there. So graphite and wax sometimes don't interact perfectly on this. So let's just make a decision here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 3. There's my rib cage. And then 1, 2, 3 across there. So the rib cage is going to go in front of the bicep, or it's going to press against it at least. And then the backside behind it's going to be the latimus muscle, right? So, and the rib cage will come right underneath here and go down. And this is our bony protrusion, so we really want to make sure this is highlighted here, this bony protrusion here. And we come down, we have the abdominal muscles. Maybe got a little wider than I would have wanted design-wise, so we'll kind of narrow him back down a bit more. Come down to the pelvic girdle right here, and here's the oblique muscles. Yeah, the vellum, man, it erases so nice. There's the oblique muscles, also known as the love handles. Are actually muscles, they're not fat. There we go. And then down here at the middle. Across there. And we'll bring it to a point here. Front of the pelvic bone. And yeah, I made his chest a little bigger. But what kind of when I use the feathers on the reference, like paste some of the feathers in there and some fur and things like that. It's going to be fun kind of figuring that out as we're building the final puppet. So, but right now what we want to focus on is getting the rib cage clay added to the torso and the rib cage and the pelvis region. So we have the bony protrusions on there accurately to build up the clay. So how the puppet bends. Okay, down here at the feet. Yeah, so let's make sure these measurements are accurate. Bring the calf up higher on the outside, on the side of the kneecap. Make sure my measurement's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, nice and high. Go. So I can get a little bit better pencil. Let's see if this one works better. Trying to get something nice and dark. 1, 2. That's almost in this side. If it smudges, magic eraser. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Cool. Sartorius muscles. We could talk about the anatomy on this, but I think kind of not necessary. Okay, the outside of the foot. Remember, just a little triangle works pretty well right here. Looks like a charm. And then we have his little beast boy feet are actually quite wide, so you gotta remember to bring that out all the way to here for the ball of the foot, and then measure out there to this side. So brings up the ball of the foot and the outside border just past the outside of the little toe. And that might mean his shin down at the bottom's a little bit thicker. Catch that on that. This one's in 3, this one's in 3. Yeah, so the symmetry of the digital tools comes in so handy, right? It's like, oh, as soon as I got into Photoshop, I was like, oh, okay. I remember why I love Photoshop. So I did have like a bow. Some track sprinters have that kind of crazy bow going on with their shin bone. Watch the Olympics or track and field championships. Okay, so the inside ankle's a little higher, and the outside ankle is a little bit lower. So just put 2 little bumps right there and there. Should be good. And we had the front view of the feet originally. So yeah, it's right on the money. Crazy how that works, right? Bigger toe, little, up to the smaller toe. Okay, pretty happy with it. I think I could balance them out a little bit more, make them um, a little more muscular, just a little bit. From that hip, maybe bring that thigh out a little more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quite a bit on that side. Looks like that side was kind of lagging behind. There it goes. And then reposition the kneecap a little bit and the inner part of the thigh right in here. So we have some tendons that come out from the pelvic region, and then it's going to curve out for the meat of the hamstring. Here, here. Okay, belly button landmark. Do the side view of this guy. There we go. So 1, 2, and then it goes right above the belly button usually, so maybe that's coming a little lower. And then there's like a third one, 6-pack, and then if you're really wiry, you got the 8-pack. These little muscles on the side here that go underneath the oblique. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Looks like that one came in a little much. Okay, and this one's coming out here. Comes up a little higher on the outer part of the forearm, a little lower on the inside of the forearm. So that's out here, should be. So catch it up a little bit as well. Bony protrusion right here, one of the main landmarks. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. All right. Looking okay. He's ready to rock and roll, at least for the torso and the pelvis. So let's grab this piece here, and I'm going to draw in. I think I could just leave it with the pencil, but I think for purposes for you guys, I'm going to maybe draw it in as a different color just so we could see what we're talking about here. So the rib cage is here. This is the bony part of the rib cage, and it kind of comes back behind right here. So we want to make sure the rib cage connects and then doesn't impede the shoulders here, right? So the important parts of this. And we can go from there all the way up to this point here. So that actually came out really good. And then for the pelvic region, we're going to add the little fins that come up here. So we're actually going to go up to here and to here like that. And we're going to actually add this on to this red area. We're going to add that on to the steel stick, to the plumber's putty. Okay, so that brings us to the magic sculpt part of it. So let's go ahead and do that.